It's December 27th, 2023, as we continue our year in review. As we mentioned yesterday, this week Texas Scorecard is taking a look at some of the big stories from 2023 as we head towards that new year. And one of those is a new state law designed to protect children from sexually explicit content in school libraries. But as Texas implements the new law, parents are continuing to fight with local officials to remove age-inappropriate books. The state is also fighting in court to protect the new law, that's House Bill 900, from a legal challenge brought by vendors who essentially profit from selling pornographic material to schools. HB 900, also known as the Reader Act, was passed during this year's regular legislative session and took effect on September 1st. Texas lawmakers passed HB 900 in response to months of complaints from parents about age-inappropriate and sexually graphic books found in their children's campus libraries that school officials refused to remove. A portion of the law requiring book vendors to rate materials sold to school libraries based on sexual content is currently being challenged by a group of vendors and publishers in court. The U.S. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is currently considering if the state can implement the vendor regulations while litigation continues. The Reader Act also mandated new collection development standards, prohibiting school libraries from obtaining or possessing materials that are sexually explicit, harmful, pervasively vulgar, or educationally unsuitable. Now, the new standards were adopted on December 14th and apply to all materials in all Texas public school libraries, classroom libraries, and online catalogs. Well, in anticipation of the law's implementation, some school officials began responding already to pressure from parents to remove explicit content. For example, in November, Plano Independent School District agreed to remove dozens of library books challenged by parents as too sexually explicit for students. Nearby McKinney ISD also removed 73 challenged titles from campus libraries. Officials in other school districts say they're waiting to see the outcome of the pending litigation before they begin removing graphic sexual content from students' libraries. Many districts rely on a lengthy reconsideration process, often stacked with school officials to keep inappropriate content on library shelves. Whatever the outcome of the litigation against House Bill 900, the law does not apply to public libraries. In what is a very common theme when you look at stories from the legislature this year, a measure to ban hostile foreign nations from buying Texas land, well, that was killed in the Texas House. State Senator Lois Kolkhorst filed Senate Bill 147. This would have achieved that aim and applied to countries listed in the previous 3 annual threat assessments of the U.S. intelligence community, like China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Chinese firms and investors have bought 383,000 acres of U.S. land. In 2022, Texas Scorecard reviewed the widely reported activities of Chinese billionaire Sun Guangqin, whose companies bought hundreds of thousands of acres in Val Verde, Texas in 2015. As a member of the Chinese military, he has ties to the Chinese Communist Party. His companies plan to start a wind farm on a portion of the land near Laughlin Air Force Base. These acquisitions drew shock and concern from lawmakers and citizens. It prompted the passage of the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act. That was in 2021, and it was supposed to prohibit foreign companies or citizens from countries like China from purchasing land near critical infrastructure, such as military bases. However, weak spots in the law soon became apparent. So, this year, SB 147 was essentially designed to strengthen that law. At the beginning of the legislative session, Governor Abbott said he would sign the bill if it reached his desk. However, he stopped short of naming it an emergency item. Despite public interest in protecting Texas' land and resources, Representative Todd Hunter, who chairs the House State Affairs Committee, never gave the bill a hearing after it passed out of the Senate.
If you're not watching the Luke Macias Show, then you are not as engaged as everybody else is in Texas who's trying to make a difference, knowing exactly what's going on so that they can take action on the things that really matter. Guys, watch us on the Roku app for Texas Scorecard. Watch us on YouTube. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Get engaged, get more informed, so together we can actually make a bigger difference on things that matter for the future of Texas. God bless you.
Last up today, during this past legislative session, banning Democrat committee chairmanships in the Texas House and Senate was a key legislative priority for the Republican Party of Texas. But despite the fact that it was a priority, the Texas House has refused to stop it, while the Texas Senate officially has ended it now. On the first day of the session in January, 2 Republican state representatives called on their fellow conservative lawmakers to listen to their constituents and pass that rule aligned with the RPT's priorities. On the second day of the session, a lawmaker proposed changing the rules of the House to disallow minority party members from holding committee chairmanship positions. However, a point of order made by Representative Charlie Guerin, a Republican, was sustained by Speaker Dade Phelan, which killed the proposal before a vote could be taken. And just as promised, in February, Speaker Phelan appointed 8 Democrats to standing committee chairmanships. In October, Dade Phelan doubled down on his support of placing Democrats in leadership positions, saying he has no plans to stop appointing them to key committees as long as he believes they are the most qualified. Meanwhile, in the Senate, as John Whitmire, Democrat, has just won his election as mayor of Houston, he will be ending his time as the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. He'll be replaced by Republican State Senator Pete Flores, meaning that in the Senate now, the practice has officially ended. You can check out these stories at TexasScorecard.com.